That old or modern Canadian $1 coin could be worth far more than you think. Some Canadian $1 coins are sought after because of rare dates, mint errors, and unique varieties. Don't clean or wash them. Original condition matters. Check every Canadian dollar before you spend it. You could be holding a hidden treasure. The 1990 Canadian $1 coin is one of those pieces that can sit unnoticed in a coin jar for years. Most people see its golden color, the bird on the reverse, and assume it is simply ordinary Canadian change. But this coin, known around the world as the Loonie, has a distinctive shape, a specific metal composition, and several areas where a genuine mint error can make all the difference. This is the first coin in today's video, the 1990 Canadian $1 coin. It was issued only a few years after Canada replaced its $1 paper note with a circulating coin. The public quickly gave it the nickname Loonie because of the common loon shown on the reverse. Since then, the Loonie has become one of the most recognizable modern coins in Canada. On the obverse, you will see Queen Elizabeth II facing right. Around her portrait are the words, Elizabeth II, and D.G. Regina. The portrait was designed by Dora de Petrie Hunt, and the tiny details around the hair, crown, face, and lettering are important when checking for authentic mint-made abnormalities. The reverse shows the common loon floating on water. Above the bird is the word Canada, while the date 1990 and the denomination dollar appear below. The loon design was created by Robert Ralph Carmichael. Its water lines, feathers, horizon, and lettering give collectors several places to inspect when looking for die cracks, doubled features, or other unusual minting characteristics. Most 1990 Canadian dollars are not worth thousands of dollars. They were made for circulation, and many examples still exist. A worn coin with scratches, dark spots, cleaning marks, bends, or damage usually has only face value, or a small premium as a collectible example of a classic Canadian Loonie. The value range of $40,230 to $108,350 would only apply to an exceptionally rare and professionally authenticated piece. That could include a major mint error, a dramatic wrong planchet strike, a strong double strike, a significant off-center strike, or an unusual combination of a real error and elite condition. It does not mean that every 1990 Canadian dollar is worth that amount. The standard 1990 Loonie is made from aureate bronze-plated nickel. It has a golden appearance, weighs about 7 grams, and measures approximately 26.5 millimeters across. It is also famous for its unusual 11-sided outline. The coin is not perfectly round, but its sides are smoothly curved and should look balanced all the way around. That 11-sided shape is one of the first things you should examine. A normal example should have even sides, no severe flattening, and no strange bulges. If one section appears wider, compressed, or distorted, do not immediately assume it is a mint error. It could be damage from circulation. But when an abnormal shape appears together with unusual weight, shifted design, or missing detail, it becomes much more interesting. The first practical test is weighing the coin on a precise digital scale. A normal 1990 Loonie should be close to 7 grams. If your coin is significantly lighter, heavier, thicker, smaller, or a completely different color, keep it separate for closer examination. A weight difference can sometimes suggest a wrong planchet or an improperly prepared blank. Weight alone is not proof. Dirt, corrosion, wear, or added damage can affect a measurement. A coin with real potential usually shows more than one unusual sign: abnormal weight, an incorrect diameter, an altered shape, unusual color, or a design that looks crowded, incomplete, or too close to the edge. One of the most important possibilities is a wrong planchet error. This happens when a coin design is struck on a blank intended for another denomination. A 1990 Loonie struck on the wrong blank could look smaller, lighter, thicker, or differently colored. The Queen's portrait, the loon, and the lettering may appear squeezed toward the edge or partly missing. Any piece like this should be examined by a professional grading service. Never scratch the edge or surface to test the metal. Do not polish it, brush it, or use chemicals. Cleaning can remove original surfaces and reduce the value of a potentially collectible coin. The original appearance often helps experts determine whether an odd feature happened at the mint or after the coin entered circulation. Now use a magnifier to inspect Canada, dollar, the date 1990, and the lettering around Queen Elizabeth II. Look for raised doubling, separated outlines, or letters that appear to have a second image built into the design. Genuine double die variety is created during die preparation before the coin is struck. Because of that, authentic doubling should look raised, consistent, and repeatable. Do not confuse true doubling with mechanical doubling. Mechanical doubling often looks flat, shelf-like, or weak beside letters and numbers. It may catch the eye, but it usually does not create major value. Real double die characteristics tend to have stronger depth and may appear in more than one area of the design. The Queen's portrait can reveal another important type of mint error, a die crack. Check the crown, hair, nose, chin, and surrounding field for raised lines. A genuine die crack forms when the die develops a fracture and metal flows into that opening during striking. That means a real die crack is raised above the surface. A scratch from circulation is the opposite, it is cut into the coin and appears recessed. A cut can be even more dramatic. It happens when part of the die breaks away, usually near the rim. Metal then fills the missing section and creates a raised blob that may cover letters, part of the portrait, or a section of the border. A genuine cud should blend naturally into the strike, not look like glue, corrosion, or flattened metal. On the reverse, study the loon, the water lines, the horizon, and the word Canada. Look for raised lines that cross the bird, connect letters, or extend from the rim into the field. Those can be signs of die deterioration or die cracks. By contrast, rough, sunken, or random marks are usually caused by circulation damage. Off-center strikes are easier to identify. They occur when the blank is not properly positioned between the dies. Part of the design shifts toward one side, leaving an unstruck area of metal. The most desirable examples usually keep the date and enough design visible to clearly identify the coin. A double strike can be even more dramatic. You may see a second partial loon, overlapping lettering, repeated date elements, or a second outline of the Queen's portrait. Authentic double strikes have real depth and follow the geometry of the original design. Keep any suspicious coin in a protective holder, photograph both sides and the edge, record the exact weight, and compare it with a normal 1990 loonie. A small difference could be the clue that turns an ordinary Canadian dollar into a coin worth much closer attention. Next, we move to another Canadian dollar coin with a different design story and another chance for an unexpected error. A 2004 Canadian $1 coin can look like ordinary golden change, but the tiny Olympic logo beside the loon may be the first sign that you are holding a special issue worth checking much more closely. This is the second coin in today's video, the 2004 Canadian $1 Lucky Loonie. Unlike a standard Canadian dollar, this coin was released with a small Canadian Olympic emblem added to the familiar loon design. That extra detail gave the coin a special identity, and many people saved it as a souvenir. But collectors know that a commemorative design becomes far more interesting when it also shows an authentic mint error, unusual metal characteristics, or exceptional preservation. On the obverse, you will see Queen Elizabeth II facing right. Around her portrait are the words, Elizabeth II, and D.G. Regina. The lettering, hair, crown, facial outline, and border are important places to inspect. A normal coin should show clear, balanced detail. If the letters look doubled, the border looks distorted, or the portrait seems shifted, the coin deserves a closer look. The reverse is what makes this issue immediately recognizable. It features the famous common loon floating on water, with Canada at the top and dollar below. The date 2004 appears beneath the loon. Near the design is a small Olympic logo, which connects this coin to Canada's Olympic sports tradition and gives it the nickname Lucky Loonie. Most 2004 Lucky Loonies are not worth thousands of dollars. They were released as a special circulating issue, and many examples were saved by the public. A coin with heavy wear, scratches, dark stains, cleaning marks, bends, corrosion, or damage normally has limited value beyond face value or a small collector premium. The value range of $33,660 to $90,760 would only apply to a truly exceptional piece. That could mean a major certified mint error, a dramatic off-center strike, a double strike, a wrong planchet error, or an unusually rare combination of error and outstanding condition. It does not mean every 2004 Canadian dollar with the Olympic logo is worth that amount. The normal 2004 Lucky Loonie has a golden appearance, weighs about 7 grams, measures approximately 26.5 millimeters, and has the distinctive 11-sided outline used on Canadian $1 coins. It is not perfectly round, but each side should be smooth and evenly shaped. Start by inspecting that 11-sided edge. A normal example should have a balanced outline, with no unusually wide side, sharp bend, flattened section, or large bulge. However, do not automatically assume that an odd shape is a mint error. Coins can be damaged after circulation by machines, doors, pavement, or tools. A possible error becomes more convincing when the unusual shape appears together with incorrect weight, strange color, or an off-center design. The next step is weighing the coin on a precise digital scale. A standard piece should be close to 7 grams. If it is noticeably lighter, heavier, smaller, thicker, or unusually thin, do not spend it. Keep it separate and compare it with another regular 2004 Lucky Loonie. Weight alone does not prove rarity. Dirt, corrosion, wear, or damage can slightly change a coin's mass. A genuine mint-made anomaly usually shows more than one clue: abnormal weight, different diameter, unusual thickness, altered color, irregular edge, or a design that looks squeezed, incomplete, or too close to one side. One of the most important possibilities is a wrong planchet strike. This happens when the dies intended for a $1 coin strike a blank meant for another denomination. The result may be a coin that is too small, too large, too light, too heavy, or a completely different color. The Queen's portrait, loon, Olympic logo, and lettering may appear crowded near the rim or partially missing because the blank was not the correct size. Never scratch the coin's edge to test the metal. Do not polish it, brush it, or use chemical cleaners. Cleaning can permanently damage the original surface and reduce collector value. A coin should remain exactly as found until it is examined by someone experienced with Canadian mint errors. Use a magnifier to inspect the date 2004, Canada, dollar, and the lettering around the Queen's portrait. Look for raised doubling, separated outlines, or letters that appear to have a second image built into the metal. Genuine double die characteristics happen during die preparation before the coin is struck. Because of that, true doubling should look raised, clear, and repeated in a logical pattern. Do not confuse genuine doubling with mechanical doubling. Mechanical doubling often looks flat, shelf-like, and weak. It may appear beside letters or numbers, but it usually has little collector value. True double die variety normally has stronger separation, more depth, and may appear in several areas of the same design. Now examine Queen Elizabeth II's portrait for raised lines. Look around the crown, hair, nose, chin, neck, and surrounding field. A raised line may be a die crack. Die cracks form when a striking die develops a fracture, allowing metal to flow into that broken area. Because the metal fills the crack, a genuine die crack is raised above the surface. A scratch caused after the coin left the mint will be recessed. A cud can be even more dramatic. It happens when part of the die breaks away, usually near the edge. Metal fills the missing section and creates a raised blob that can cover letters, part of the rim, or a section of the Queen's portrait. A real cud should blend naturally with the strike and should not look like glue, corrosion, or flattened metal. On the reverse, study the loon, water lines, horizon, Olympic logo, date, and lettering. Look for raised lines crossing the bird, connecting letters, or running from the rim into the design. Those may indicate die cracks or die deterioration. Random rough marks, gouges, and sunken scratches are much more likely to be circulation damage. An off-center strike is easier to spot. It happens when the blank is not correctly placed between the dies. Part of the design shifts toward one side, leaving an unstruck blank area. The strongest examples usually retain the date 2004, the Olympic logo, and enough of the loon design to confirm the coin's identity. A double strike can be even more exciting. You may see two partial loons, overlapping letters, repeated date elements, or a second outline of Queen Elizabeth II. A genuine double strike shows real depth and follows the geometry of the original design. Keep any suspicious 2004 Lucky Loonie in a protective holder, photograph both sides and the edge, record its exact weight, and compare it with a normal example. The next coin takes us to another Canadian dollar where a modern production change could make one tiny detail far more important than it first appears. A 2012 Canadian $1 coin may look modern and ordinary, but its new security technology, different weight, and tiny hidden mark could reveal a coin worth much closer inspection. The third and final coin in this video is the 2012 Canadian $1 coin, known to millions of people as the Loonie. At first glance, it looks like a normal golden-colored coin with a bird floating on water. But 2012 was an important transition year for Canada's $1 denomination. The Royal Canadian Mint introduced changes in composition and security features, creating a version that should not be confused with older Loonies. On the obverse, Queen Elizabeth II faces right. Around her portrait are the inscriptions, Elizabeth II, and D.G. Regina. The face, hair, neck, and lettering near the edge are important places to inspect. On a normal coin, these details should look centered and well-defined. If you notice doubled letters, extra metal, or a shifted design, it may be worth examining under magnification. The reverse shows the famous loon floating on water. The word Canada appears above the bird, while dollar appears below. The date 2012 is found on the obverse beside the Queen's portrait. This traditional design may look simple, but the water lines, bird feathers, rim, and lettering offer many places where a genuine mint error can appear. Most 2012 Canadian dollar coins are not worth thousands of dollars. They were made for circulation and still exist in large numbers. A worn coin with scratches, stains, cleaning marks, corrosion, or damage normally has only face value, or perhaps a small premium for collectors building a modern Canadian set. The value range of $28,880 to $82,950 would only make sense for a truly exceptional example, a major certified mint error, a wrong planchet strike, a strong double strike, a dramatic off-center strike, or an unusual combination of a genuine error and outstanding condition. That range does not apply to every 2012 Canadian dollar coin. One reason this year deserves attention is its composition. In 2012, Canada moved to steel-based technology coated with brass layers. A standard 2012 Loonie weighs about 6.27 grams, measures roughly 26.5 millimeters across, and has a thickness close to 1.95 millimeters. Earlier Loonies commonly weighed around 7 grams, so comparing a 2012 coin with an older example can create confusion. It also keeps the distinctive 11-sided shape. The coin is not perfectly round, but its sides should look balanced, smooth, and regular. If one side appears unusually wide, flattened, open, or distorted, do not assume immediately that you have a rare error. It may have been damaged after leaving the mint. But if the unusual shape appears with incorrect weight, strange color, or a shifted design, it deserves much closer attention. The first step is to weigh the coin using a precise digital scale. A standard example should be close to 6.27 grams. If it weighs much less or much more, seems too thick, too small, or has a completely different metallic appearance, do not spend it until you inspect it more carefully. A major difference can suggest a wrong planchet or another production problem. Weight alone does not prove an error. Dirt, wear, corrosion, and post-mint damage can slightly affect the mass. A coin with genuine potential usually shows more than one unusual sign at the same time: abnormal weight, different diameter, altered edge shape, unusual color, or a design that looks squeezed, incomplete, or too close to the rim. An important security feature is the tiny laser mark of a maple leaf inside a circle on the reverse. It should appear as an intentional part of the coin, not as a stain, scratch, or dark spot. If that area looks unusual, inspect the rest of the coin before making any conclusion. A weak mark caused by wear does not automatically create a rare variety. Color can also provide a clue. A 2012 Canadian dollar normally has a golden appearance. Over time, it can darken, develop spots, or lose some of its shine. That does not automatically make it valuable. But a coin that looks gray, reddish, silver-colored, or has clearly different metal areas deserves a closer look, especially when the weight is also outside the normal range. Never scratch the edge or surface to test the metal. Do not use cleaners, chemicals, brushes, or polish. Aggressive cleaning can destroy the original surface and greatly reduce the numismatic value of a potentially collectible coin. Keep the piece exactly as you found it. Now inspect the date 2012, Canada, dollar, and the lettering around Queen Elizabeth II with a magnifier. Look for raised doubling, separated outlines, or letters that show a second image built into the relief. A genuine double die variety forms before the coin is struck, during die preparation. Because of that, true doubling should look clear, raised, and repeatable. Do not confuse this with mechanical doubling. Mechanical doubling often looks flat, weak, or like a small shelf beside a letter or number. It may catch your eye, but it usually does not add major value. Genuine double die features have more depth and can appear in several areas of the design. The Queen's portrait can also reveal die cracks. Check the crown, hair, nose, chin, and the field near the rim. A raised line crossing these areas may be a genuine die crack. This happens when the die fractures and metal flows into the opening during striking. Because of that, a real die crack is raised above the surface. A scratch made after circulation is recessed. A cud can be even more dramatic. It forms when part of the die breaks near the edge. Metal fills the missing area and creates a raised blob that can cover letters, part of the rim, or a section of the portrait. To be genuine, it should blend naturally into the design and not look like glue, corrosion, or flattened metal. On the reverse, inspect the loon, the water lines, the maple leaf security mark, and the lettering. Look for raised lines crossing the bird, joining letters, or running from the rim toward the center. These may indicate die cracks. Sunken, rough, or random marks are usually post-mint damage. Off-center strikes are easier to identify. They happen when the blank is not properly positioned between the dies. The design shifts toward one side and leaves part of the metal blank. The strongest examples retain the date 2012 and enough detail to identify the coin clearly. A double strike can be even more exciting. You may see two partial loons, overlapping letters, repeated date elements, or a second outline of the Queen's portrait. A genuine double strike has clear depth and follows the original design's geometry. And that brings this video to an end. Before ignoring a 2012 Canadian $1 coin, check its weight, 11-sided shape, security mark, and every detail of the loon. One small difference could be the clue to a coin that has been waiting years to be discovered.